We live by lines on a map. Nearly 200 nation-states define our planet today, each with its own flag, anthem, and laws. But what is a nation-state, and how did this idea take over the world? In a time of instant communication and mass migration, can we still afford to live within borders? Tonight, we explore the rise of the nation-state, its promises, its pitfalls, and its future. The world of nations is a human invention. We begin by asking, are these lines permanent? Or something we made? Tonight we ask the hard questions. First, what exactly is a nation-state? A nation-state is more than just a country. It's a fusion of nation, a people with a shared identity, and state, a sovereign government ruling a defined territory. Unlike a tribe, and unlike empires, which govern diverse peoples under a crown, a nation-state aspires to unite a people under one flag. In an ideal nation-state, the borders of identity align with political authority. This concept differs from older forms. Europe's map once looked like a patchwork. Today, it is a system of nation-states. Empires like Britain ruled many peoples. Nation-states like Japan or France aspire to represent one people. From chiefs to emperors to parliaments, governance evolved, and with it, the modern idea of equal national identity. This idea of equality and common identity within borders is a modern invention, one that reshaped our world. To understand how the nation-state rose, we go back to a pivotal moment, 1648. The nation-state as we know it has a birthday, 1648. The Peace of Westphalia recognized rulers' authority over their territory. For the first time, the idea of state sovereignty, control within borders, took hold. Over centuries, the concept of nation merged with state, through revolutions and unifications. The age of revolutions proclaimed governments should represent the people, rather than dynasties. Nationalism redrew maps. Italy and Germany formed from many duchies into unified nation-states. Yet these new nation-states built overseas empires, a paradox, preaching self-determination at home while denying it abroad. European powers carved continents with straight lines, often ignoring ethnic realities. By the early 20th century, imperialism spread the European state system, and 2 world wars tested it brutally. After 1945, the UN and decolonization transformed the globe. Over 80 colonies became independent, swelling the UN to 193 members. The nation-state became the universal model, its borders hardened into the maps we recognize today. But what has this experiment given us? The nation-state brought a new kind of order: parliaments, courts, constitutions, structures to govern territory and citizens. Within a defined territory, a government built infrastructure and social services that improved many lives. The nation-state underpins citizenship, a legal bond that grants rights and protection to people within its borders. National identity can unite diverse communities under a shared project and purpose. International coordination between nation-states rebuilt economies and stabilized regions after war. Organizations like the UN rely on nation-states as the building blocks of global cooperation. When disasters strike, nation-states coordinate resources and protection, turning subjects into citizens with claims on the state. In short, the nation-state offers a framework for order, rights, and shared identity, ideals that reshaped modern life. Many borders were drawn with a ruler and a rifle, not with the realities of peoples in mind. The result has been decades of instability, where borders don't match nations on the ground. Unchecked nationalism can treat outsiders as enemies, and history shows how fiercely that can burn. When one group claims a state for itself, minorities can be marginalized, or worse. Today, more people are displaced by conflict and persecution than at any time since Wu, over 123 million. They flee broken states only to hit the walls of others, sometimes with tragic consequences. The passport you carry can determine your fate. Some prosper, others are trapped by borders and poverty. These are the human costs of dividing the world by nations. Where borders protect some, they imprison others in misery. While ordinary people are confined by borders, a select few seem to float above them. CEOs and financiers often have more in common with each other than with their own countrymen. If Apple were a country, its revenue would exceed Portugal's. Multinationals span the globe, often operating beyond the reach of any single state. Tech firms step into roles once reserved for governments, policing speech and shaping public discourse. Close to 40% of multinational profits are shifted to tax havens, escaping taxes that would fund public goods. Sometimes corporations fill gaps left by states, a help, but also a symptom of weakened state authority. Will nation-states adapt to regulate these borderless forces or be eclipsed by them? Pandemics, climate, and cyber threats demand cross-border solutions. In 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, an assault on state sovereignty that shattered decades of relative peace in Europe. The world reacted. Many nations rallied to support Ukraine, showing both the limits and strengths of nation-state alliances. Long simmering borders drawn after World War I proved fragile. When states collapse, extremist groups and mass displacement often follow. Europe's refugee influx ignited nationalist backlashes, turning human tragedy into political flashpoints. Across the Americas, families fleeing violence face walls and detention, another symptom of borders tested by migration flows. Platforms without borders can destabilize nation-based democracies, spreading misinformation across states. Climate change displaces communities, raising painful questions about statehood for islands that may disappear. These flashpoints are personal, faces of those who bear the cost of borders and their failures. Our world's challenges spill over borders, yet solutions often remain trapped behind them. Will nation-states adapt, or will global pressures overwhelm them? We've journeyed from the birth of the nation-state to its current trials. The nation-state remains resilient, but it is not perfect. Walls can fall, and human spirit can redraw what borders mean. From space, the lines look thin. On the ground, they are thick with meaning. Nations inspire belonging and sometimes exclusion. The next chapter is up to us. Are nation-states the problem or the solution? The answer may lie in how we choose to shape them.